What is up, YouTube? Drew Nelson, aka HR Falcons 22, back here again doing another dip review for you guys. And this time I'm going to be coming back at you with this Longhorn Long Cut Natural. This was a measly $1.59 at the gas station down the street, and it's a cold and rainy and shitty day in Columbia. So I figure, what better, I don't know, way to ameliorate the problem than just, I don't know, stay inside, take dips, and listen to Mumford and Sons. So let's go ahead and throw one in. Also going to be talking to you guys a little bit, telling you some stories about just my completely drunken weekend, which was hilarious, as well as just some of the epiphanies and the observations that I've made when I am intoxicated, when I was intoxicated. So we'll talk about that. I'll also talk to you guys about absinthe, which is my latest obsession as far as alcohol is concerned. And then finally, we'll go over some picks, especially with the month of March coming up. Wanted to kind of get your guys' input on some of the picks that you guys should have, and or the picks that I will probably have for winning it all during the month of March. So let's go ahead and get started. Longhorn Long Cut Natural, for $1.59, actually, I'm fairly surprised at how close the texture matches up with a Copenhagen Long Cut, or a Copenhagen Natural or something like that. I was going to compare Copenhagen Long Cut Original and Longhorn Long Cut Natural together, but then I totally realized and fucking kicked myself because Copenhagen Long Cut Original is obviously a very different cut than Longhorn Long Cut Natural. It would be more appropriate to compare Copenhagen Long Cut Natural to Longhorn Long Cut Natural. But nonetheless, I found, at least in my experience, that Copenhagen Long Cut Natural, flavor-wise, is very similar to Copenhagen Long Cut Original. So hopefully Longhorn Long Cut will follow suit. The first thing that I actually really like about Longhorn is the fact that this can is fully packed. It's not like Copenhagen where you open up a freshly cracked can and there's a dip and a half missing. It's fucking bullshit. That just always, that's one of my pet peeves when I get a new can and I'd open it up and there's a fucking dip missing. I don't know, just pisses me off. So, but we'll go ahead and take one. First and foremost, let's compare the texture of Copenhagen Long Cut Original to Longhorn Long Cut Natural. So Copenhagen, just so you guys can see, Copenhagen Long Cut is, for all intents and purposes, at least in my opinion, probably the highest quality, just original, straight, not even straight, because that would be the wrong term to use, but just unadulterated tobacco that you can get. Copenhagen Long Cut is the fucking gold standard. So that is what Copenhagen Long Cut looks like. It's pretty hard to pinch. Copenhagen Long is. It's fairly hard to pinch, so I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're a first-time dipper, and it does hit you pretty fucking hard. So also, if you took a Copenhagen Long Cut for your first dip, then, and you didn't throw up, then that's probably on the same level as Grizz Wintergreen for your first dip. You're a fucking god. So congratulations if you didn't throw up. But as you can see, just a little bit of a finer cut as far as the tobacco is concerned. So now, let's take a look at Longhorn Long Cut Natural. So, oh my god, this shit is fucking easy to pinch. This is almost, I haven't dipped Copenhagen Natural in a while. Natty has always been one of my favorites, but I haven't really been able to find it down in the South. So I just haven't dipped it in a while. But for the Long Cut Natural, regardless of whether it's Cope or Longhorn, what you're going to generally see is that it's just a much longer cut. It's going to be close to the same flavor like Copenhagen Natty, for example. Flavor-wise is, as I said, very similar to Copenhagen Long Cut Original. The only difference, at least that I can tell, is just that it's extra long cut. It's just easier to pinch. So that is our Longhorn, long cut natural. Really easy to pinch. I like barely even reached in. I barely even like applied pressure when I was taking a pinch of this. So, and that's not quite big enough. So, and it's a rainy day, and so when you're inside on a rainy day, what else do you have to do but just, I don't know, pack fat knacks? So let's go ahead and throw that in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So holy shit. Um, Let me tell you guys some stories just real quick before we get more into the review. Um, so this weekend, right, went out and it was just like great. It was a grand old time. I ended up Saturday night going to Kildare's. If you've been to the University of South Carolina, Kildare's is like a classic freshman bar. Like everybody is just perpetually hammered at Kildare's, and they have these special magical concoctions called fish bowls. And fish bowls, I'm not quite sure what all is in it, but I do know that it's at least some parts blue Gatorade or blue Powerade or something like that, and Sprite, and then just a magical fucking hodgepodge of liquor. So, went out to Kildare's, was having a great time, like until I got a fishbowl. I purchased a fishbowl for $10, and this thing literally comes in like a half-gallon fucking fishbowl, and like a plastic fishbowl, and it comes with I think 5 or 6 straws, so that you can walk around and like find girls and be like, hey, you want some of my fishbowl? Yeah, here, take that, drink up. Um, but anyways, just found some people and was sharing the fishbowl around and everything. Probably had way too much to drink because there's always that point when you're drinking where you're like, oh, I feel great right now. I'm gonna like drink a little bit more and then maybe I'll even feel even better. And it's just like, no, you don't feel even better because you just get to that tipping point and then it's like all fucking downhill and you feel like shit. Classic example, the week before, was just hanging out with some of the people from the business school at the university, and we were having a good time. We were like just, yeah, I don't know, trading shots and like, oh, what do you have? Let me try that, like whatever. And everything was great until I decided to puff on an electronic cigarette, and I grossly underestimated the amount of nicotine that is in an electronic cigarette. So of course, me like being an idiot, I like took a dip, right, and then I was drinking a little bit more, and then I was puffing on the electronic cigarette and like holding it in probably way more than I should have, and like blowing O's and stuff, and it was just like ridiculous. Well, I had a lot of puffs off the e-cigarette, and it literally got me to the point where I was in this chair and I was feeling great, and then all of a sudden I was just like, oh fuck, I can't move. I can't fucking move. Oh my god. And so I'd like get up and be like, I'm gonna go to bed. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm gonna stay right here. And so everybody like ended up having to take care of me because I broke out into a fucking like cold sweat. Thought I was gonna die and was just like, oh my god, like I better go to the fucking hospital or something. Like it was just ridiculous. And needless to say, woke up the next morning at like 4:30, found my card so that I could get back into the dorm, right? And then walked outside to like get to my car. Like I was pretty sober at this point, but I was just super hungover, and it was like cold and rainy and shitty. And the street that my car was parked on was like really fucking steep. And so there was literally a point where I was walking down this street in like the freezing rain at 4:30 in the morning, and I was like, and I hit like a slick patch of sidewalk or whatever, and I was sliding down Barnwell Street at the University of South Carolina. Thank God at 4:30 in the morning, so that nobody would have seen me. But I was sliding like, whoa, oh, fuck, and it would have just been a perfectly fitting end for me to like eat shit and grind to a halt and just come to rest in front of my car. But thankfully that didn't happen. So one thing that I did want to tell you guys, being that I did have a very, very horrible hangover, one thing that I did want to share with you all. If you are a connoisseur of alcohol, be it low-end fucking Burnett's or, I don't know, really good wine or whatever, if you like to drink a lot and you like to get hammered, here is my complete, and this is like proven because I've done it like so many times before and it's worked. It's fail safe. It works every goddamn time. This is how you prevent a hangover. When you get done, like whatever, with your party, you're like, oh, and like you get somebody to drive you home, because don't drive drunk. That shit's fucking, that's a horrible decision. But once you get home and you're like getting into bed, it's so tempting to just get into bed and fall into like the drunken coma where you like don't wake up for 20 hours or so. But before you do that, here's what you do. Go get a multivitamin from either GNC or Vitamin Shop or someplace like that, just any multivitamin. I, for example, take this, and I'm not endorsing Optimum Nutrition, this is just the multivitamin that I take. So it's got, what, tons of magnesium, zinc, selenium, manganese, yeah, riboflavin, niacin, all that good stuff. Take one of these right before you go to bed and like take it with a bunch of water. You will wake up without a hangover. I guarantee it. It's incredible. So thank you, Optimum, for fucking saving my life and my sanity and my liver. So anyways, more stories. Goddamn. So to cure my hangover, right? Took a multivitamin in the morning, which didn't really do that much. You have to take it before you go to bed for it to really have a positive effect. But then, of course, went to the sauna at the university, at the rec center, and sauna, like, it's just a great way to sweat out some of the toxins that cause hangovers in your body. So I was in the sauna just hanging out, and there was a group of like frat guys that came in or whatever, and then, of course, like 2 or 3 reasonably attractive women came in, and so everybody was just like, oh, who are they, like, whatever. And this girl gets up, leaves, and one of the frat guys goes, guys, that girl looks like she's 13, but in a good way. And it was, like, hands down, one of the fucking funniest things I've ever heard. I was dying laughing in the sauna until I realized that there was, in fact, another girl in the sauna, and she heard everything and was just looking awkwardly at us and was just like, oh my god. So that was that. Let's see. New things to do. Funny things that drunk people do that I've noticed. Well, one of my friends was telling me the story where he was drinking, and he's been dating this girl for like a reasonably long time, like 7, 8 months, and they're like madly in love, like whatever. And I guess she came over, tried to take his alcohol from him, and he like flew into a drunken rage and like tried to kick her, and he like actually ended up kicking her like square in the chest, and she was just like, go to your fucking room. And he like just went into his room, and he felt horrible. So I mean, hopefully when you're drunk you don't kick people, but that's what my friend did, so try to avoid doing that. Okay, what else? Oh, absinthe, my latest obsession as far as alcohol goes. I had absinthe a while back when I was in Spain, and I was doing like kind of it was like a semi-study abroad, but it was more like get fucked up abroad, sort of. And absinthe, for those of you who don't know, it's a alcoholic, really high potency alcoholic drink that's made with what's the name of the herb? Artemisium absinthium, and it's just like a herb that has a component of wormwood in it called thuhone, and thuhone is, according to some of the people that really endorse like absinthe and everything, thuhone makes you like hallucinate and everything. So I wanting to try it, and this is when I was like a sophomore in high school, so I tried absinthe and just had like the time of my life. Like I don't know, just blacked out, and I don't remember like ever really seeing shit, but I just remember feeling like really productive while I was intoxicated. So it's now legal to buy here in the United States, but the kicker is that the absinthe you can buy here in the United States doesn't have thuhone in it, doesn't have the hallucinogenic compound in it. So it's not as good as some of the stuff that you can get, for example, in Switzerland or like Czechoslovakia or someplace like that. So if you ever get a chance and you're in Europe, try absinthe. It's fucking incredible. Um, Lastly, let's go over some of the picks that I have for March Madness. It's been a running joke every year that I pick like Oral Roberts. If they get to the dance, I pick Oral Roberts every year to like get to the Final Four, and of course they never do. But I always pick Oral Roberts. Like fuck, who can go against who can root against a school that has the word oral in their name? That's fucking sweet. That's awesome. Um, so I think in all seriousness, I have my top two right now for like winning it all. Gonzaga and Indiana. Gonzaga is fucking sick, like just because Spokane, like the whole atmosphere around Gonzaga basketball is way tight. Um, I also have Indiana because obviously they're number one right now for a good reason. And what's the name of? It's like a small white dude. He's like he might be one of their shooting guards or something like that. I think Holes is his name. He's fucking like really smooth and everything. Like he's a damn good basketball player. So I'll be watching Indiana closely, hoping that they win it all. They'll probably be my pick to win it all. But God knows that I will not be picking Duke to win it all because I fucking hate Duke more than any other college basketball team in the country. Why? Because ESPN constantly hypes up Duke. Dick Vitale is constantly like on top of Duke, like riding Duke's dick, and it just pisses me off because everybody hypes up Duke. They win some like early tournament every year, and then they just don't deliver in the dance, which is great because to chant like against North Carolina State, for them to chant like "How's your grandma" to that kid whose grandma died like literally right before the game, like that's fucked up. Fuck you, Duke, for doing that. But I mean, at least they're better. At least Duke is somewhat better still than Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, I swear, Notre Dame has had the same big white center for like the past 50 years. It's the same dude. They just put a different name on his jersey. Like I'm fairly convinced. So I don't know. And Notre Dame, as you all know, like when I was ranting about Alabama versus Notre Dame for football, I hate Notre Dame also because they're America's team. I get that they're like Midwest, like American heartland, everything that like Roman Catholic, everything that a true like college fucking school is supposed to be. But God, they just get so much credit that they don't deserve, and it pisses me off. So that's that. Let's get back to a little bit of the review on Long Cut Natural for the Longhorn. Flavor-wise, I have noticed that it is slightly similar to Copenhagen Natty, but the other thing that I've noticed is that it doesn't really give you a buzz, like, at all. Like, you would probably have to throw in a monster of Long Cut Longhorn Natural to, like, get any semblance of a fucking buzz. Compared to Copenhagen Long Cut, flavor-wise, Longhorn they claim on the can that it's richer and bolder. I can see that a little bit because I did dip Long Cut Longhorn Natty like for a little while back when I was like poor and in high school, and now I'm like even more poor and in college, but I just dip Copenhagen now. So I think that it is a little bit richer, a little bit bolder. But that being said, it's still nothing close to the like earthiness and the true tobacco taste that you get out of Copenhagen Long Cut Original. So final rating on it, just because it was $1.59, so as far as price is concerned, it's a very, very reasonable price. Final rating on it, I'd give it about a 7 out of 10. I don't think that like I would dip it regularly, but I do think that if you are strapped for cash and you just want a dip to put in your lip and nothing more than that, then Longhorn Long Cut Natural isn't a bad choice. If you do have $2 or $3 extra, you're probably better off investing in Grizzly. But if you're just like scrounging around in your car for some change, and you come up with $1.75 or something like that, Longhorn is a decent buy. So that about wraps up the review on that. Hope you guys enjoyed some of my stories, as well as my hangover cure. Be sure to use that. Let me know how it works out for you. And I will be doing another review shortly on most likely one of the skull flavors. I keep trying to find spearmint. I can't fucking find spearmint. It's really been pissing me off. So I'm going to go ahead and try and find that, and I'll come back and do a review on that as soon as I can find it. So thank you guys for watching, and go Indiana, go Gonzaga, fucking fuck Duke. I'm going to end on that. Thank you guys.